welcome to NUFS Said. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
And we're the New Ulm Film Society, and we're here to talk about some movies that are coming out this month. So the first movie we are going to talk about today is Here, which is a Robert Zemeckis film. Let's take a look at it.
It's time with your time and this news is captured.
Right here is where we want to be.
You know, if you like, you could spend the rest of the night here.
I could spend the rest of my life here.
It's time with your time and this news is captured.
This was our home. We lived here.
See, I just love that song. I've seen Yes in concert a couple times. I'm a huge fan. I am normally the first person to just talk mess about Robert Zemeckis. I think he makes strange CGI monsters on a regular basis. But I think perhaps in this case, he may be putting those special powers to good use.
Yeah, I think that might be the case with this one. I mean, that's Zemeckis is kind of notorious for like kind of pushing the envelope with some of this technology here, and he's gotten a little criticism over the years just for making these CGI messes where it's like uncanny valley, and he's done it with Tom Hanks a few times now here.
Times.
But the thing is, he gets it right too. One of the things I gotta note, he directed Forrest Gump, and he used a lot of these effects pretty well in that first time out, and still respected to this day because he kind of used them sparingly. He'd insert Tom Hanks into these archival footage, and it looked pretty seamless at that time. Still does hold up pretty well. Or even just something as simple as like, well, we need to remove Gary Sinise's legs for a scene. So he knew what he was doing then.
Yes,
and
for sure.
If you can use the technology wisely, it's one of those things where it's like, did we really need to make it all CGI animated thing where it's clearly that actor?
Polar Express is terrifying.
Why do you have to do that?
Not for the reason it should be.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But this is another case where he's it's not animated this time, and you saw some limited of the de-aging, or in some cases, aging effects in this.
From what I understand, it was all done on set. Like they used an AI technology that previewed the final image for the director on set. So all of the de-aging was done, while they were acting, which is an interesting idea. Terrifying in this hellscape of AI that we live in nowadays. But you know what? I'm here for something that looks a little different. And Here looks a little different. I haven't seen a film that looks like this since 1919 when they were still shooting film without motion.
Yeah, because we're just having one lockdown shot of the one location over time, and it's kind of funny because it's the conceit of this movie is almost that the location is the star.
Yes.
And the actors are just kind of passing through it.
Yeah, which is an interesting premise, and I'm excited to see what he does with it. It's based on a graphic novel, from what I understand, which having just briefly perused it, looks like a very interesting piece of art. Whether that's going to translate to this medium, I'm not sure. I think he's brave for trying it. I'm very interested to see this one. I'm not usually excited for films because I'm old, I'm tired, I have 1,000 kids, and I never go out to the theater because I just don't have the time. But this looks like something I'm genuinely think I'm going to seek out and try to see this one. Although it looks really sad, and I don't like being sad.
It does look a little sad, but it's one of those things and I'm curious about just from the trailer here, which era they're exactly focusing on, because we saw the dawn of man is where this thing looks like it's starting, and another thing, I don't actually know if they're going to be in chronological order, if they're going to jump around.
In the graphic novel, it's not necessarily in chronological order, and it's not necessarily single frames either. You're looking in multiple timelines in each page, which I think is interesting, and I don't know if they're going to do that based on what I saw in the trailer. Although I did see some visual representation of that in a handful of shots. I don't know if that's necessarily what's going to be happening on screen.
Yeah.
Which may be easier for the audience to ingest in this format versus with a book where you can take your time looking at the page.
Yeah.
You know, you may miss something if it's taking place simultaneously with something else.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my guess is that they're going to be focusing on one couple for the most part, and we'll be jumping back to some of these other eras where we'll just have like a scene or two in them to kind of get the idea. But
Yeah.
it will probably be following just the one family, I'm guessing.
I'm genuinely excited for this one, and it's something new. Which a lot of these we're going to talk about today are sequels again.
Sequels again, yep.
And just things that we've already tried and
Well,
retreaded here and there. And
It's one great thing about Zemeckis is that he's trying something new most of these times.
doesn't always work. Like
Doesn't always work, but he's trying.
he is.
And we
God
appreciate
bless
it.
him. He's trying.
And he's been doing it for decades now, so we gotta keep it going.
All right, so let's talk about the next movie, which I believe is Heretic
Yes.
with Hugh Grant. I'm actually excited for this one because I liked the movie 65 with Adam Driver. Did you see that one?
I did not see that. I wanted to.
Oh my!
Looked great though.
It was fun.
I agree.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it.
If I could make a wish, no lights, no sound. If I could make a wish, no lights, no sound.
Were you ready to hear about our Heavenly Father's plan for you?
Whew, the trailer gives nothing away.
Hourly
which
Amazon.
I always prefer because I feel like all these trailers nowadays, they're like 5 minutes long, they get the whole plot away, and I'm just like, all right, well, now I don't even need to see the movie. Like, I kind of need to see this to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've seen another version of the trailer, and that's kind of the same thing. That the other trailer I saw basically just has the opening premise, and they don't explain too much, but they're just like, all right, here's the premise, and from the trailer here, you can kind of see we have some missionaries basically who come to a man's house, and this man basically kidnaps them and forces them to go through a series of tests for his whatever philosophy he has here, which we don't even know. We don't even know why he's doing it. But that's Hugh Grant is the villain holding these missionaries hostage. Basically.
He's been killing it lately
Yeah.
for me. I mean, Paddington 2,
Yep.
great.
Great villain role, man.
Yeah, I loved him in Dungeons and Dragons as well. That was like
great villain role.
one of my favorite films from the last couple years.
He's been doing a lot more villain roles these days. And the funny thing, though, what I've heard about this movie, just from all the interviews, is this is really the first time Hugh Grant's really done horror. He hasn't done that before, and it's just him doing this really creepy turn here because the thing is kind of the setup. He has to seem pretty innocent to begin with.
Very charming.
Yes.
Yeah, but then...
And then you find out, no, not so much. And it's they're not giving anything away, but from every interview, everyone who's seen the film, it's pretty scary some of his turns he has in this one. And we have this film came to us from a couple writer-directors who have a pretty good pedigree at this point.
Good
You
track
mentioned
record,
you mentioned 65,
which is one of their lowest-ranked movies. That, from what I understand,
Yep.
but I loved it. I thought it was a blast.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But what people probably will know him for, A Quiet Place.
Which I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, they've done
the
that.
kids watched it without me, and now I can't watch it.
The Quiet Place, yeah, the Quiet Place film. That's the one they kind of started, and just showed that they could had some chops for this. And this one's interesting because it might be it's not clear from this trailer even if there's any sci-fi or fantasy elements in this one or not. It looks almost like it could be pretty normal down there. We don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. Maybe there's dinosaurs in
There
it.
could be. There could be something. Looks like that contraption he's building could be something
Some
bad
sort of
here.
like
but this
dungeon, maybe.
But yeah, so this will probably be, they got started in horror, but this one might be the more extreme one. So if you thought, I handle The Quiet Place, I'll be able to do this one. Maybe not. But
Maybe not. Maybe I won't let the kids watch this
Maybe
one.
not. Yeah.
Another great choice in the music for the
Oh,
trailer,
yeah,
by
yeah.
the way.
Very-
Very set the atmosphere really well.
Great use of air supply in
Yeah. Well, let's look at a trailer for a movie that's going to be a little bit more fun and upbeat. So let's take a look at the trailer for Red 1 coming out soon here. Let's take a look at it.
Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. This will go on where you can see every couple of times.
Hi, Jack.
Cool place.
Welcome to the North Pole.
Come again?
Last night, Red One, also known as St. Nicholas of Myra, was abducted.
Are you saying Santa Claus has been kidnapped?
You're the best tracker in the world. You're gonna help us find him.
I work alone. You used to. I'm not gonna like you. I can tell right away. Out of everyone here, I like you the least. Garcia?
What the hell?
Shall we do the thing?
I'm afraid we're gonna have to.
You're mine until we find him.
Oh, God!
I suggest you get going.
Claus!
We doing some last-minute Christmas shopping?
Toy stores.
Toy stores what?
The supply closets are portal stations for the North Pole transit system. Grab a car. We're gearing up.
This one looks like fun. I mean, I'm not super excited for it, but it definitely looks like something more for the kids. And, you know, I think my kids will really enjoy it. They love The Rock, and they love those Jumanji movies.
Yep.
So I'm expecting similar vibes from this one.
Yeah, I'm getting the same from it too. It's one of those films. Every time there's a Christmas movie of any kind that kind of comes out, there's going to be that annual return to it. So this will probably be one of those. This could end up being one of those movies that we keep seeing again year after year. If it
the Jingle All the Way effect.
yeah, something like that. Maybe even if the movie maybe doesn't hit the audiences wants to right off the bat. Maybe down the line it becomes a Christmas classic of some kind. This one's kind of reminding me a little bit of just we have had a string of these kind of action-y Christmas stories that we had a few years ago. We had Silent Night, a Violent Night. A Violent Night. That was which was again kind of a comedy with Santa Claus as the big action hero. This time they're trying to rescue Santa though, so we'll see how they go.
Honestly, I'm kind of tired of The Rock though, and this just looks like The Rock again. The thing that I'm excited for is we get maybe a little bit of old Chris Evans here.
Yep.
Pre-Captain America, kind of schmarmy.
Yep.
Mouthy Chris Evans, which I really loved when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of people were like offended when he got cast as Captain America because we can't have that kind of schmarmy guy being Captain America.
Well, yeah, because he was famously was Johnny Storm in Fantastic Four before that too.
Storm, and he was not another teen movie.
Yeah.
He was Ryan Reynolds,
he was
main competitor at the time, like that same niche,
Yep. And he's trying to get back to that role here, It's just one of those things where, I think Chris Evans, if he hadn't gotten Captain America, he'd be a huge star anyway, really, if we're doing some other things like this. And it's pairing him up with The Rock is kind of, we'll see how it goes. I think he's clearly the main character, though, so that's Rock in a supporting role is kind of it.
I think his best supporting role was in The Other Guys with Will Ferrell. Yes. I love that one.
Actually, yes. Yes.
Jumps off the building.
You're correct. He's going to be the guy explaining things, though, in this one, I think. So Chris Evans, our audience surrogate here, but it looks like it could be plenty of fun. I think, that's kind of the idea. They're trying to get the family film for the holidays.
Which I'm totally okay with. We got to get the films out there for the kids to enjoy. Mm-hmm. All right, next up we got Ridley Scott again.
Yes, we do.
All right, let's take a look at the trailer for Gladiator 2 here.
It is an art, choosing gladiators. They're usually prisoners of war.
I claim this city for the glory of Rome.
You have something in you. Rage. Never let it go. It will carry you to greatness. I own you now. But whose head could I give you to satisfy your fury?
The general will do. Rome has taken everything from me. But I will have my vengeance.
There is plenty of pain waiting for you in the next life. I don't know why you are so greedy for it in this one.
Your Majesties.
This is your gladiator.
It is. I have the trust of the emperors. It will clear my path to the throne. You will be my instrument.
I will never be your instrument. In this life or the next.
Lucius, take your father's strength. His name was Maximus, and I see him in you.
Most fighters won't survive.
You must help him.
Strength among us! I don't fight for power. I fight to free Rome from men like them.
Your name will be forgotten!
To restore order, I must have power.
Everything is forgotten in time. Empires fall. So do emperors.
This is war! Real war!
The odds are against you. The odds are always against me.
Ready to round!
I mean, my first initial reaction for the first trailer that I saw was excitement. Like, I love the first Gladiator. I love Ridley Scott. I'm all on board for it. Every successive trailer I've seen since has made me less excited for it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dour guy. I hate everything, I know, but it just looks like the Spider-Man 3 effect, okay? There's too much in it, all right? There's no way you're going to be able to convey all the things you need to convey. There's no way we're going to see every single one of those scenes and have it make sense in a timely manner.
Yeah, part of me just kind of goes like, well, first off, it's probably going to be a longer film. I don't know what the runtime is.
Is it going to be 9 hours?
Maybe. I mean, if I remember correctly, the first Gladiator was fairly long.
I believe it was 2 hours and 40 minutes,
Yeah.
the theatrical cut.
So, yeah, this one is probably going to follow in that footsteps. Maybe it could go even longer here.
Oh, Ridley.
It's just funny because this is a sequel to a Best Picture winner. From, what?
2000?
2000? Yeah, 2000. So this is almost 25 years old.
Yep.
The original, and they're finally getting a sequel. So the legacy sequel is still in effect here.
Yeah, again, we've run out of ideas. They have to use marketable, bankable, projects.
I am kind of optimistic in that, Ridley Scott's back. He decided to, he knows what he's doing with this. He can do a pretty good sequel. He can, if he needs to.
He can make a great movie, but he can also make a bad movie. We've seen that on both sides of the coin recently. All right.
And he's trying to go back to that too. And but once again, now he's given us a Denzel Washington fix.
I love Denzel, and I get the vibe that he's gonna like be the twist villain in this, where he's like the political mastermind behind all of the conflict.
I agree with you. I'm getting evil Denzel Washington vibes.
I'm so fine with that. I love evil Denzel, but it's just I'm tired of the twist villain. I'm tired of a lot of things, and whether this is good or not will really. I'll have to see.
I'll have to. It's one of those things where I'm gonna have to watch it just to figure it. I got to see what they're doing with this one. Part of me is almost even wondering, it's a sequel, obviously, so continuation of the previous story, but I almost
Where's
wonder,
the connection?
Where's the connection?
Yeah, it's going to be so tenuous.
It'll be like, it looks like they're going to Maximus' son or something like
he
that.
He died!
Or something.
That was the whole motivation for the first movie, is his kid was dead.
Exactly, so they're going to try to find some other connection to him to some way here, and I don't know what it'll be, but I almost feel that this will probably be almost a standalone. Like they're just almost using the name.
I hope so.
Almost just using the Gladiator name for that kind of let's sell some tickets. But really, it's its own story. Yeah, probably set in the Coliseum, but later on. But
I'm interested. I see them leaning heavily into the sort of political motivations of gladiators, which, you know, the first film kind of like touches on a little bit, but back in the ancient Roman society, like there were huge political changes that were perpetrated by armies of gladiators in the city of Rome. So, you know, maybe that's kind of the history they were trying to touch on and stuff like that. So
maybe. Well, you know, maybe if it leads to some sort of a Spartacus remake, we can get happy.
I mean, Kirk Douglas is finally dead. I mean, after all these years, finally, he's no longer out there stealing people's youth. We don't need to get a Spartacus remake just because he's, you know.
No.
We did get All Quiet on the Western Front recently, so we might as well do Spartacus 2 while we're at it, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
All right, now let's get to some of the films that I'm infinitely less excited for. Let's take a look at the trailer for Wicked.
You're gonna be popular. I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be
Dancing through life, mindless and careless. Make sure you're wearless when you're dancing through life.
And I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. What is this feeling?
I got us tickets.
You coming?
Everyone will be there.
Just you and I defying gravity.
Think of what we could do together. Wicked, rated PG.
If there are no further questions, I'm
Gonna go. Only in theaters November.
All right. Now, I think everyone just assumes that I hate musicals when I say I don't want to see this movie. I love musicals, okay? My kids wander around the house singing Les Mis. Because I've watched it and sung it so many times. I made them watch The Sound of Music on a regular basis.
Sure.
I watched How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying with my daughter like 3 weeks ago. I love musicals. I'm not excited for this one.
Okay, well, we'll get into that. I'm a little excited. I guess I'll be the excited one.
Have you seen the play?
That's the thing here.
I haven't.
This is where it gets weird. I have not seen the Broadway play version of Wicked. I have not.
Stephen was trying to explain it to me. It's just made me madder.
I haven't seen that, so I can't be a judge. And this is what they're adapting. This is very specific. They're adapting that Broadway play, Wicked, which is extremely popular.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I haven't seen it. I have read the book Wicked.
Okay.
I've read all the books in the Wicked series that they've done, actually,
All right.
and I'm a fan of them. They're really good. And for our audience who doesn't know, Wicked is basically an alternative version of Wizard of Oz, okay, where the Wicked Witch is the main character. We meet her in her younger years, and when she was friends with the Glande, the Good Witch of the North.
So it's the villain origin story.
It's a villain origin story. And the big twist kind of really of Wicked is she's not really the bad guy. She's not really that evil. There's something else.
So all those monkeys flying around and stealing children, that wasn't a bad thing. That was like...
Well, here's the thing about okay, I've done this joke before. I'm going to do it again. Just look up the 1939 movie. What happens in the 1930s? Dorothy's house falls kills her sister, falls in her house, kills her sister. She shows up and she's like, what happened?
Accidents happen.
I know. She's like, what happened to my sister? And here's the thing.
I mean, she chased children and tried to murder them.
But she's mad. She's mad because who wouldn't be? Her sister's dead. A house fell on her.
And then she stole her shoes too.
No, Glenda did. Glenda stole the shoes and put them on Dorothy. And it's like, why? And she's like, and the thing is, she wants the shoes. She's like, just give me the shoes. You know, they're my sister's shoes. They're powerful. It's like, those are not Dorothy's shoes. She has no ownership rights to it.
Hey, possession is 9/10 of the
You don't get to crush someone's sister and then like, well, I killed them by accident. I'm gonna just take the stuff off.
I like to ride around on tractors, just running people
There's
over.
a joke
taking
about
their
this.
shoes.
And then what happens? She goes to the wizard. And then the wizard's like, I need the broom. So the wizard sends them to the witch she's defending her home at this
never
point.
disagree that the wizard is a giant turd.
And that's the big twist is that the wizard's the bad guy in Wicked.
That all makes
kind
sense.
of the idea. That's how they try to change it around. And it looks like Jeff Goldblum's playing the wizard this time out.
That's fine. Jeff
Which
Goldblum
is
plays a
good
great
casting.
villain. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I know the Broadway musical took liberties with the book source material, and the book came out in 1995 here. So, and then at this point, the Broadway musical is way more well known. So it'll be one of those things where I'm going to watch, it's like, but that's not how the book went. And it's like, this isn't following the book that I like. And then why are they singing right now? You know? Yeah. But to be fair, the original Wizard of Oz was a musical, the 39 version. So.
And as with any musical, I think this will exist on the strength of its music, which if the songs are killer, musical's going to be great, whether I like it or not.
That's
you know?
Yep. The one other thing, though, I'm a little nervous about is, from what I've been told, they split it in two. It was too long, so there's going to be a to be continued. This is going to be Wicked Part 1. They're going to have to be the second half's all going to be the second half of the Broadway.
As is traditional with those, the second half will be worse.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that's what people are concerned about, because the good songs that people like you said, they're in the first part, not the second part. So that's what I've been told. So I can't confirm that myself, but
that's what Steven told me actually.
He did tell us
in the back there. He said that this is the good half of the play.
So it'll probably do very good and get people interested and want to check it out, and then
everyone will hate the second one.
Maybe. Well, I'm sure it'll do just fine, but people are like, why was this? And the thing is, it's one of those questions like, why are we splitting this into two? Was that necessary?
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit is the most notorious one, and that one was because of corporate greed and a bunch of other things.
Well, they were trying to keep the studio from going under, and then they ended up selling to Amazon anyway.
That's a whole thing. We'd be here forever. Yeah. But that should not have been. The Hobbit should not have been 3 parts. That was
forced Daniel Craig to work to death as James Bond until he was like, get in there, beat Bond again.
Well, if they just put,
you gotta save the studio.
Maybe if they'd made it. Craig, one of the Hobbits,
yeah, maybe,
or something. But that's a different story. But yeah, it's not even this one. We're getting a lot of Part 1, Part 2s these days with them taking a story. Almost every. I mean, I'm just thinking the Hunger Games split up its last movie. They did that.
I think that was the same studio though, too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Harry Potter split up the 7th book and the 2.
But that was a 900-page book. Like, there's a lot of story to get through there. A little more acceptable than The Hobbit, which is like 305-page children's story. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah, and it'll be interesting again. I haven't checked the runtime on this one, but it's like, could you?
They'll stretch it.
They'll find a way. We can do a 2.5-hour musical. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, really, seriously.
I think they could have got.
Gladiator is going to be 9 hours long.
Yeah, fine. Do
and no songs.
But that's the mini-series effect. So
yeah,
we'll see.
All right, well, we should get on to the next movie here, which is another sequel, which I am somehow less excited for than any film that we've reviewed so far. Go ahead and take a look at Moana 2.
Oh, yeah.
You wanted to come this time.
You were gone forever.
It was 3 days.
Where are we going?
Before Maui stole Te Fiti's heart, our ancestors wanted to connect our island to all the people of the entire ocean. It's my job as a wayfinder to finish what they started.
Moana, show our people just how far we'll go.
This is a call from the ancestors.
Hidden in a terrible storm, it's an ancient island. Setting foot on its sands would break the curse, bring our people together again.
I know what I have to do. Maui, I could really use your help.
Can I get a chee-hoo?
You will be destroyed. And your wayfinder, too.
Now I kind of miss the lava monster. Ow! Ow!
What if you don't come back?
I'll be back. I promise.
Do I hear people?
Those aren't people. Cockum. You guys, we got this. Bring it on, Coco.
Nuts.
first Moana. I thought it was great. I was such a fan. The music's great. I have zero interest in seeing this. It looks so flat and sad.
Well, it's not to be too old man, but back in my day when they needed to make a Disney sequel, they released it directly to DVD.
Why is this in theaters?
It was direct to video or maybe direct to Disney Channel, and it had poor production value. You never knew it existed.
Yeah.
This thing's going to the theaters. And it's happening all the time. Like every one of these Disney animated, they gotta get a sequel. They all get a sequel now.
Yeah.
And they all did before. It's not like this is new, but the thing, like I said, they were not theatrical sequels.
Yeah.
They were just
soulless cash grab sequels. Have never not been a part of Disney. It's always been a part of Disney.
Always been part of Disney.
I just don't understand why it's in theaters now.
Well, they were usually embarrassed about that. It's like, maybe don't look at this one here. Well, we can hide and pretend.
They should stay embarrassed.
They should be, but when they have all that money they make, they can.
Maybe it's going to be great. I'm sure there's plenty of talented people who worked on it. They got The Rock back, which again, very tired of The Rock.
Yeah.
I think they heard Tamara Morrison again. He's a great actor. They have the original voice actor from Moana back.
Yep. Alan Tudyk, I think, is in this as well.
As a chicken.
Yeah, as a chicken.
He's not like he has an actual part. He just goes, that's it.
They actually brought him in just to do Vermont. Okay, he's way more versatile than that.
Well, he's their good luck charm, I guess. Which, good for him. Love Alan Tudyk. More work he gets, the better for me, because he's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
But my notes for this are lazy, boring, and then planes. Because I remember the movie Planes. That was like a spiritual sequel to Cars.
Yeah, well, they had 3 Cars movies.
Well, this was between some of the Cars movies. They also released.
We need a spin-off about planes.
Planes, where they're like firefighter planes.
Just knock this one out.
Oh, and another thing that pisses me off. All right, cloud monsters.
There's a cloud monster.
There's a cloud monster. I have such a bone to pick with
Didn't they learn that from Lost?
The entire 2003 to 2020 period where there was just an unlimited supply of CGI cloud monsters. It was you were either the Cloverfield monster clone or a cloud monster, and I am so tired of them. And we started getting some really cool creature design the last couple years, and Disney was like, screw it, let's just go back 20 years.
Well, you don't
cloud monster.
You don't like the cloud monster in this movie. Now go back to the first movie, which you like.
Lava monster!
It's a lava monster, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see at least.
I agree with The Rock. I missed the lava monster.
You missed the lava monster there. I remember though when the first Moana came out, one of the criticisms of it was like, the villain isn't too big a part of this story. They were kind of losing some of our villain, and we actually talked about the wild robot.
Generational trauma is the villain.
Yeah, we don't have the actual villain here, and so I'm almost kind of wondering. I think they might be trying that again with this one here, because of the cloud. It's a cloud monster. It's not actually the villain. It's just some cloud. That's you're like, oh boy. So it's going to be about, again, finding
generational trauma
inside there. We'll see if
we have to get to that island so we can all unite as a people again.
Yeah, it's that part of me is just concerned. Like, what do they really need Moana to learn this time around?
I don't know that she's even more awesome. Like, she was already cool enough. She doesn't have to have any character progression.
Yeah, that's kind of what makes me go a little bit. Because even those
Okay, the first Moana was not a character progression for Moana. It was about Maui's character progression. Yeah. And now, what are we going to regress him again? Yeah. Moana was already cool. She was always cool.
We were just those low-budget Disney sequels that I was mocking earlier. When they would do them, they were usually kind of spin-off, focus on another character anyway. That's how they would do it. And then give it to another.
Maybe it'll be about the pig this time.
Yeah.
He seems like he's got good vibes.
Maybe we need a better pig movie. We haven't had Babe.
Yeah, Babe's like 30 years old now.
Yeah.
Let's get another pig in the city.
We never got a Babe 3. I'm just saying.
You're right. We should mind that, Disney. Let's go find Babe 3. All right, let's talk about a film where actually we got some special guests here. We're going to be talking to Billy Straub and Jack Baranek, director and cinematographer of Max Bishop. Let's take a look at the trailer, and then we'll get them out here and we'll have a nice little conversation with them.
So, how are you gonna kill me?
I don't know yet.
Are you gonna cut my throat? Or are you gonna chop off all my fingers so there's no way to identify me? Or are you just gonna shoot me?
job.
Copy of your resume?
Last 1040. Second copy of your resume?
It is our opinion that the field of education is your calling.
Children are the future, you know.
I've never really given them much thought, to be honest.
I know someone who needs to go.
Target, huh?
Ruby McAllister. She says the meanest things.
It is not in my interest to have my family name defiled.
How does 500,000 sound?
750,000.
2 million.
526-6821. Mr. Bishop.
Mr. Bishop. Mr. Bishop.
Okay. Welcome, guys. Really excited. We go way back, so it's nice to see you guys again.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So, tell me a little bit about the inspiration for this film, guys.
So, Max Bishop got the idea back in 2017, and it's about an unemployed hitman who finds work as a janitor at a local elementary school. That log line just came out of nowhere, and just right off the bat, I thought there might be something there. It was also accompanied by just how I saw the scenes playing out. We were really inspired by some particular movies that we can talk about, but we shot it in a very specific style with lots of long takes, and it just seemed like that style was coming part and parcel with the story. Mm-hmm. So I was very excited that those two ideas were coming at the same time.
Nice. So, Billy, you were obviously the cinematographer for this project.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit of working in the long take format that Jack was talking about there, and what was exciting for you to work in that?
Well, one of the things I always liked about one of my favorite types of shots have always been seeing a character, just holding on a character and just letting the actor kind of go through the scene. And so that was a lot of this was, we got that, big wide shot, and then, stuff kind of happens, and there's stuff all over the screen, and, something happens over here, something happens over here, and it's just kind of it's almost kind of like a painting where you can kind of watch different parts of the frame and what happens.
Like the Wes Anderson.
Big, yes. I know we looked at a couple Wes Anderson references, and what's interesting is I think Wes Anderson was influenced by some of the same movies that influenced Max Bishop, so there definitely is, even in a roundabout way, a Wes Anderson kind of feel to Max Bishop. So that's definitely kind of a shorthand comparison I would make, would be, those Wes Anderson, dollhouse kind of designs that he does. We're not quite dollhouse style, but it's a similar thing.
Yeah, lots of flat angles. And,
yeah.
Interesting. So, can we talk about maybe a couple of films that inspired you to make this one?
Yeah, I know when we were kind of pitching it around, we kept saying it's Kindergarten Cop meets Les Samurai. And so what we did think was kind of funny was taking these art house film techniques and applying them to something we thought was kind of an audience-friendly story.
Yeah.
So these two polar opposites and putting them together and seeing what happens. So this French movie, Les Samurai, with Alain Delon, who recently passed away. We mentioned that when we were driving down. Again, just very precise framing in that movie. And we thought, boy, it would be funny if we used that very precise style, but for comedic purposes. Try to use it for comedic purposes.
Well, there's definitely some laughs. I mean, I've only seen about half of it so far. We're going to go to the screening tonight to see the rest of it, but I was definitely some good, solid comedic moments in the first half that I saw.
And that's what just, if all else fails, just remember, it's supposed to be a comedy. So have fun. That's about the best, advice I can give is just have fun with it. It might get a little weird here and there, but it's just meant to be funny and to have fun with. But another movie, kind of going off with what Billy was saying, with multiple things happening, is another French movie called Playtime from 1968. And that was a huge influence on us. Jacques Tati was a French filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And that movie, it's just exclusively long shots of super modern Paris, and there'll be different gags happening at different points of the screen. So I might be watching a rather different movie than Billy watches, and it even kind of depends where you're sitting in the room and the eye line you have to the screen. So that was definitely an influence as well.
So it's chock full of gags in the background. Keep your eyes peeled.
Not as many as Tati, but we tried. We tried.
Gives you a reason to watch it a second time. Catch all the things you might have missed the first time.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons I'm excited to see it. Of course, you shot most of a good chunk of this film here in New Ulm, actually, and I'm hoping I can recognize all the spots and figure them all out. Now, you told me once before where we all shot. I know a lot of it was Jefferson, actually.
Yeah, we did a lot of school scenes. We're at Jefferson Elementary, and then we also used one of their other locations, Washington Learning Center on the north end of town. People might recognize the Lind House, the inside of the Lind House. We're down in the Goosetown neighborhood a little bit, so definitely the train station down there. Even inside the running store on the north end of town, they were kind enough to let us come in and film a scene. And Clay, you kind of reminded me that, when we were touring Jefferson not long after getting the idea for the movie, I thought maybe we could, use some New Ulm locations, but then the color scheme at Jefferson, just the super clean purple and white, that just seemed to fit. And we really, all the other colors from the movie came from that purple and white scheme.
So Eagle's pride.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. Interesting. But that's wonderful. And it's just kind of exciting because we're finally getting the film screened here in New Ulm. I know after 5 years of waiting, finally got it here. And one thing you mentioned, we're gonna have Mike and I are gonna see the movie here at the Grande tonight, actually, when we're filming this. But you did hint that this won't be the last time we screen it in New Ulm.
I really hope this won't be the last time that we screen the movie in New Ulm. Yeah. When we got a distribution deal in 2021, and still at that time there were COVID restrictions, so in-person screenings were very difficult. But the movie did make it onto Amazon, Tubi, a few other streamers, and the COVID kept following us, and then by the time the restrictions relaxed, we're working on different projects, but this just seemed like such a perfect opportunity with the Film Society reaching out. So I, really hope this is not the last in-person screening that we do in New Ulm. Yeah.
So you said you're working on other projects now. Is there anything else we can look forward to seeing in the next couple of years?
Yes, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. It's a crazy business, and it's a crazy art form as well. But no, we got a couple features that we're developing. One in particular that very well could lend itself to being shot around this area again, which would be fantastic. A couple features in the pipeline that hopefully, with not too much longer, we have some official announcements to make on that. So,
cool. Awesome. So I think we have some trivia lined up, and our wonderful guests here are going to join Clay and I as Steven cooks up some questions to stump us back there. What do you got, Steven?
Who was originally considered for the part of Forrest Gump by the director Robert Zemeckis?
In the mid-90s,
I do not know.
I'm just going to guess Kevin Costner because he was really big at the time.
That's a good guess. I'm going to throw this one out there. I don't know where I'm coming with this. Tom Cruise.
Ooh.
That running scene would have been a lot different.
Yeah. That's probably why I was written in there.
Well, it's one of the, I'm basing that on just because I know there's so many roles where Tom Cruise was considered, but he wasn't available or something. I don't know.
I also don't know where I'm coming from this other than he was a name at that, still is, but Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, and I feel like there's some connection there, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, this is.
Billy, you have a guess?
Oh, those are all good guesses. I'm gonna go with probably Kevin Costner. That sounded pretty good.
Bill Paxton. Of course it was Paxton.
Twisters.
Of course.
Excellent.
I feel bad now. Huh? One of those things I think someone did tell me that once and I just forgot.
All right. What was Hugh Grant's first appearance in a horror?
Oh, he had a different horror movie appearance.
Probably in the 80s, right?
Probably the 80s.
I'm imagining it was a minor role.
Still, the image here is from the year that he was in that film.
But not from
that looks like 84.
Good.
I'm gonna say Nightmare on Elm Street.
No. That would have
no idea.
He was not in Nightmare on Elm Street. I would have remembered that.
Yeah. Like, you're the only one here who's gonna get this.
He would have been in something that was a little bit more obscure.
Correct.
people wouldn't necessarily know. So it wouldn't have been anything too huge there. So I'm going. I want to say it was probably something.
Gremlins? I don't know any horror movies.
I'm gonna throw out one called Witchboard.
That's a good guess.
It means it's not Witchboard.
I'm gonna say Phantom of the High School or something like that. Something really low, but I don't know.
All right, here's the answer. The Lair of the White Worm.
I have heard of that. I've heard of this.
What is that?
I've heard of this movie. It is relatively people. It is generally liked. I didn't know he was in
classic,
it.
huh?
I did not know he was in it though. Ah, darn it.
What was the most financially successful Santa Claus film?
I want to say it probably was just the Santa Claus.
That's
with
what
Tim
I was
Allen.
thinking. Maybe the Santa Claus. Well,
that's my guess.
Let's think, because most financially successful, not adjusted for inflation. I mean, so is there any ones in the last 5 to 10 years that were?
I mean, it could almost say Krampus, but I don't know. That seems cheating. That was, and I don't think it was that successful.
Probably the Santa Claus then. Although I feel like it
or
only
maybe
made
even
like 150
It could be
million.
the Santa Claus 3. That's the weird thing. They made 3 of those.
Oh,
things,
yeah,
so it
they
could be
did.
2 or even 3. I don't know.
Because
I
3
feel
was
they did
like
all- they all did well.
mid-2000s, so.
I feel they all did well.
Are we despicable enough that Bad Santa is the highest
You know,
grossing?
it might be, but it's a very high grossing on the R list. I know that.
That's the thing. So it'll probably be a PG-13 or PG kind of thing because that's how they make the money too.
I'm also going with the Santa Claus.
going with-
You know, I like
34th Street.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah,
that
it could
was
be
a
the
huge
It
one.
could be the '93 version.
I'm gonna go with Bad Santa.
I'm
I
gonna
like
stick with
Jack's
the original
answer.
Santa Claus. Tim Allen.
The Polar Cosmicus!
It's connected.
Really?
What we talked about.
Yeah, of course it
Really?
is. But there's more than one Santa thing connection. We could use red one. Oh.
What were the name of Maximus's horses in Gladiator?
Oh no.
I have no idea.
I remember the scene because they're the two horses on his armor, and he says like, that's that one and that's that one, and the horses that my son rides or whatever.
Do they have any were they real names or that?
Oh,
everything.
it was like they were like Latin names, so it was like Didymus and something else. I don't-
Deuteronomy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Horsemedes.
Horsemedes.
Butter and cup.
There you
I
go.
feel like maybe like Hera or something like that, and then
Yeah.
I like how it's a picture from Robin Hood, which is just another.
All right, here's Sparto and Sparto.
Ah.
You got us again. You got us.
Dang.
Very nicely done. Wow.
When did the Broadway show open for Wicked, and who starred in the original lead roles?
What's her
drawing a
face?
blank.
Little lady, big voice, screechy. I remember.
I know the faces, but I can't remember. And then the witch was played by. She was also in Rent. Oh God, I can't remember.
I want to say it was like 07 too.
Who voices Elsa in Frozen?
Yeah, me.
That's the same. That's the same answer.
I'm gonna say 2005 for when it premiered.
That feels about right. Maybe a little later though.
I think it's it is because see the book that Wicked's based on was 95. So then, and I think it became a Broadway. It probably was early 2000s actually.
I feel like I saw a big board for it when I went to Broadway in 07. So I feel like it was around by then.
I'm gonna
It
say
must have been pretty
2002.
new. 02?
I'm saying 02.
Really early.
Okay, and no guesses on the actual.
I can picture her tiny little pinched face, but I
the name.
cannot.
I remembered
For the life of me.
I remember John Travolta pronounced her name wrong. At the Oscars, but I could not.
Zelda Z is not her name, but that's what he said.
All right, who is it?
Lest we forget.
Kristen Chenoweth. I knew it. Idina Menzel.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yep.
It opened in 2003.
Okay. All right. So earlier than I thought.
I was off by 1 year.
Yeah, you were close.
1 year. That's where they got me.
What was the first official Walt Disney animated feature sequel?
Oh my God. This is a great question. Animated feature sequel?
Feature sequel.
Feature
Released
sequel.
in theaters.
The Fox and the Hound 2. No.
When did the Return of Jafar come out?
No, that was.
That was the 90s.
I feel like there would have been
So
something,
was there something
in
pre-90s?
the 80s that might have. But
Yeah,
would-
probably.
Return of Jafar was straight to the video.
Was The Rescuers Down Under? Is there a sequel to that?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, no, Rescuers Down Under. What's the sequel?
That is
Yeah,
the
The Rescuers. I just watched I watched
That's
Rescuers.
That's
like 3 days
probably
ago.
that could be the answer.
I'm kind of leaning towards. I think that's going to be my answer.
I'm gonna take that one too.
Rescuers
That
Down
sounds
Under.
good. Rescuers Down
I'm
Under.
feeling that too.
Amazing.
Good thing God Jack was here.
All right, that's all I've got.
All right, well, that's all we have today. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Make sure you come on down to the New Ulm Film Society screening November 12th of the film 1776, which is a 1972 musical about the year of independence. And also come on down to the Grande on Thursday, November 21st, for another film screening from Kevin Ackley and Oscar De Leon. Thanks again for joining us, guys.
Thank you so
Nice to
much for
see
having
ya.
us. Yes. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Good to see you.
Yeah.